So for today's video, I'm going to be showing you how I use the Seamwork Hansie shirt pattern and kind of hack it so that I can use it for knit fabrics. And I have to apologize, my neighbors are cutting down their trees right now, so it's super loud. But I am trying to use my mic, my wireless mic that I always forget to use. But hopefully you can hear what I'm saying. I really wanted to make one of these shirts up today and I had some time. So what made me think of this is I have this shirt that I've worn a lot. It's just a white shirt. I don't know where I got it from, like a little boutique or something. But I really like the fit of it. It's just, I wouldn't say dolman, but it's just like one piece with like grown on sleeves, and it just fits me really well. And it's actually kind of long, but the top part fits me really well. And I love how it's casual, but I can also kind of dress it up too. It's not just a regular t-shirt, like a crew neck. So this one's getting kind of like lint bally, and it's time for a new one. And I was like kind of looking for new patterns for t-shirts, but I really only found like more crew neck or v-neck shirts. I didn't see one that was like something like this. And then I remembered the Hansie pattern, and this is a free pattern. So I will show you the pattern or what I'm doing. I think all you have to do is sign up for their newsletter or something like that. But this is a really good one. I have to say, I don't love woven shirts. So I did make it in this like beige linen, like textured linen shirt, and it came out nice. I'm just not crazy about woven shirts. I don't know. If I'm gonna wear like a casual shirt, I usually tend to pick knits. And to be honest, I don't like facings in shirts. I don't know. I feel like it looks like really handmade when I can see a facing. I know some store-bought shirts also have facings, but I prefer doing a bias, like a single fold bias trim, or what we call finishing. So I don't really wear this shirt, but it did come out nice, and I do like the fit. So I knew that this pattern fit me well. And this one has darts in it. So when you have a woven shirt pattern, to get it over your head, if it doesn't have any zips or whatever, or if it's like really not that loose, you do need to have like some darts for shaping. And it is, kind of size specific. Like you can't go too small or it won't fit over your head. This one fit me and whatever, but yeah, just saying, if you make the woven one, make sure, do a test, and don't cut your good material until you know that it fits you over your head. It can be a little tight. Like my mom's a little bit taller than me, and she tried this shirt on because I wasn't going to wear it. And then it was hard for her to put on. So I still have this shirt. But I just wanted to show you what the woven one looked like. The pocket's really cute. The darts are really nice. I like the fit. And then so I thought, okay, I'm going to try to make a knit one out of it. And this is the one I made, and I loved it. It came out so good. I didn't do the pocket because it was kind of a test run, and I don't know, with prints sometimes I just don't feel like doing a pocket. But yeah, it came out so nice. I kind of made it a cropped version. For the finishings, I used my cover stitch machine, which I've been loving. You can, for this whole thing, I am going to use my cover stitch, but you can also do a double needle on your sewing machine too. Or you can do a zigzag stitch. So I'll just show you what I'm doing though. And I think with this pattern, I also found a new way to do the cover stitch, I guess hem, with hem tape first. And I think that worked out so much better. Like just the finishings look a lot more crisp. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if the hem tape is a permanent thing or if it's going to dissolve after time. But when you're doing it, it makes your cover stitches so much nicer. Anyways, I love this shirt. I wanted to make it in a plain white because it, goes with everything. And I've been trying to like sew like woven pants, like fun prints of woven pants. And you need something solid to wear on the top. And don't always want to wear a bodysuit. So something like this, a slightly dressier shirt, works well. So this is my notes to myself. I remember because I always forget what I did. That's why I also make these videos for myself. These are the facings we're not going to use. I don't know if I'm going to use I guess I will do the pocket just to do it. And this is how I store my patterns usually. And I put in a binder. So my notes to myself is for my knits, just make 2 backs, but 1 with the front neckline. And the reason being is this is the back piece. You know, it looks pretty much like what the pattern would be like. But this is the front piece. And the front piece has the darts for the bust shaping. And I don't know, it's a little bit difficult to try to finagle this so that you can use it for a knit. You can use the dart for the knit fabric, but it also, it will have a seam there. Plus, if you pull it too much and you didn't use a stretch stitch, um, it will snap. So I just want to avoid the dart. And they're actually really similar. Besides the dart, the sleeves are the same. Everything's pretty much the same except for the neckline. You can use this one for the neckline. It might be kind of tight because this is the back. So I'm just using this curve for the front piece. So yeah, let's go ahead and cut out the material. So the fabric I'm using is this really nice quality, medium weight, I guess, jersey material. It's so nice and smooth and has really great stretch, like a little bit more stretch this way than this way. I don't have one of those gauges where you can measure the stretch, but it's a decent amount. But yeah, I bought this at Joann's, and if you have a Joann's near you, definitely stock up on some of their basics. I got this on my trip in Arizona. We don't have a Joann's here, and they no longer like ship anything out. So yeah, I wish I got more. I did buy like 3 or 4 yards though, so I have enough, and I definitely had this white shirt in mind when I bought this. The back, I just cut it out exactly like it is shown. So I'm just gonna put that on the side. You do have to cut it on the fold. Okay, and the other shirt I made was a tiny bit cropped. I'm just gonna keep it the length that it came with. So we're cutting another back out. Use the pattern weights. I just got a new rotary cutter and it works super good. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and cut out my pattern. Okay, when it comes to the neckline, what we're going to do is switch the pattern out. So I'm going to take the back pattern off and lay the front pattern on, just like match it up at the top seam and the sleeve. That's what really matters. I wouldn't worry too much about down here. And we're just going to cut out the neckline. I'll also do the pocket too. For this material, I actually don't know which side is the right side and the wrong side, but we will just designate one side. So hard to see. They both feel pretty much the same. I'd have to say maybe this is a little bit softer. I'm just going to get my friction ball pen and mark it. And just cut one out of the pocket. For the front piece, you actually want to mark the pocket markings for the left side of the front. So I'm just going ahead and doing that. It's kind of hard to see because this is the wrong side. But yeah, just mark those 4 points depending on what size you are making, so you know where to align the pocket later on. The pocket will go like this. Okay, so now at this point, we're just going to go ahead and pretty much sew the shirt as the instructions say. We're just going to forego the facings, the darts. So just go through the instructions and just stop where you need to. So for the pocket, it says to fold in 5/8 of an inch or to finish the seams, but we don't really have to because it's a knit fabric and it's not going to fray. I'm just going to try to press and see if it'll hold the press. I guess it's looking okay. So we'll just go ahead and do as recommended, 5/8. I'm still slightly undecided about the pocket though, to be honest. I may or may not add it in, but we will prep it in case you guys want to do it and you can see what it looks like. So 5/8. And this part needs to be done pretty neatly because this is how it will go onto your shirt. You want it to not have anything sticking out on the sides right here. And then we're going to fold it in 1/4 of an inch and 3/8 of an inch. And a clapper is really good too. I never knew like it was so handy. I've seen it in like old school like sewing videos, but a clapper really helps. It's almost like the cool shot on your hair dryer. Just make sure these little corners are folded in. And when I look at this shirt, the pocket is top stitched. So it's up to you. You can totally top stitch it here too. I might do that. Actually, would probably prefer it being a little bit bigger and then top stitching it. So I think I'll do that. I don't know. To me, it looks better when kind of like a 1-inch fold over for pockets. Okay, it does say to top stitch, but it was only a 1/2 inch. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that really quick. I'm going to sew it from this side and top stitch it 1 inch. And it looks like it's holding the press pretty good, but I'm just going to kind of clip it just in case. Okay, I was having the hardest time sewing the top stitch nicely, and then I realized I didn't have my walking foot on. I had my regular presser foot on from the previous project I was doing with vinyl and zippers. That's what I had that one on. Like, oh my gosh, it makes such a difference. And I had to seam rip this twice already because I didn't realize. I just got these like really cute rainbow hemostats and they just are so good for seam ripping. You know, when you get like the last thread and you just want to yank it out, but it's really hard for your fingers. You get one of these, get a small one though. I had one that was long and it was kind of hard to manage. Small one with tight teeth, and you just clamp it in and pull it. And then, you know, anyways, love that. Okay, so let's sew this again. This will be like the 3rd time. Gosh. Always test your material out or your stitching out on some scrap material. I notice every time I forget to do that, that's when these things happen. So I'm just gonna align it this way, 1 inch. I'm gonna move it a little bit over because I don't know, it was stretching and pulling and not doing the right thing. So hopefully with the walking foot on, it'll be better. Okay, so I have my stitch length at a 4mm stitch. Okay, that was 100 times better. It came out a lot more even, like the stitching, and it didn't start pulling. Because what a walking foot does, it adds feet on the top. So you have 2 rows, like a bottom layer and a top layer, and they're both pulling the fabric together at the same time. Also, a funny story, the first time, so I did seam rip it twice. First time I forgot to put on a ballpoint needle or a stretch fabric needle. So that's number 1. And then number 2 is a walking foot if you have it. Okay, so the next step is to attach your pocket. So this is the front right side of the shirt, and I have my 4 points that I marked, and it is a little bit bigger because I did fold down more on this top edge. So I'm just going to align my pocket to the top 2 dots and kind of just, you know, align it to the bottom. My trick is to use hem tape for this part. You can also use a glue stick if that works for you. I just find the glue stick to be messy, but it does work. I have done it before. So you're just going to measure a piece of hem tape, maybe just shy of, not all the way. You don't want it to be sticking out at all. So just lay under, preferably on the part that you folded in case, you know, you don't want to hem tape your pocket closed. Although I do think it kind of washes away. And then we're just going to press it. And depending on the type of hem tape you buy, some I think are, it seems like they're wash away or temporary. So just fold it a little bit, put this on the edge, and then fold it back. Just make sure nothing is sticking out. The hem tape's not sticking out because it will stick to your iron. And then just check to make sure it's secure. Like this didn't attach well, so I think it needs a little more heat. Okay, so now we're going to top stitch this, and I'm not just going to go straight down. Maybe I can bring you guys in a little closer. I like to start from here and then stitch up here. Usually it's like 2 stitches this way and then go down. And you know, at the corners, just go from here to all the way here. And then when you get to here, go 2 stitches in and then stitch all the way to this corner right here. I would show you on the sewing machine, but I think it's clearer if you just look at the markings on what I'm doing. So I'm going to still use a 4mm stitch. You could use a stretch stitch, but I find that doesn't look that nice because it's like a, at least the ones on my sewing machine, it's either a lightning stitch that will go like that, or it's a triple stitch. So it makes a lot of little stitches and it's not a nice large stitch like a top stitch, if that makes sense. Okay, so this is what the pocket looks like. I don't know if I love it. It's okay. And I think I should have used a 4mm stitch. This 5mm one is a little too chunky, I think. But maybe without the purple marks, it'll look better. Plain is also good too if you don't want to go through the trouble of doing this. Highly recommend that hem stitch though. It makes it a whole lot easier sewing a knit pocket on a knit shirt. Okay, so the next instructions say to sew the shoulder seams with the right sides in. So I'm going to use my serger. If you want, you can use like some ribbon. You can use the hem tape to make this seam a little bit more strong, I guess you could say. It looks like my shoulder seam is a little off. So it is a little bit bigger. I'm just going to like ease it in. I'm going to cut it. I'm going to serge it first and then trim it. And now we're going to press the serge seams toward the back. Trim up any of the serge. Okay, and then I'm just going to blend the neckline in. It'll be easier for me to do the cover stitch. Okay, and then now we're just going to sew the side seams. Okay, so now all we have to do is finish the hems and the neckline. So all I did for this one was turn it under 1/2 inch with the hem tape. This side 2, this side 2. And I think for the bottom, I'm going to turn it under 1 inch. Like this part kind of takes a little bit of time, but it turns out really nice in the end. So it's just very iron heavy. So if you don't like to iron, you know. So this hem tape is 3/8 of an inch. So I'm just going to turn it under 1/2 inch just for a little bit of give. But this really helps, or helps to know how much or how wide yours is. You can buy them in varying lengths, that's why. Because you can just put it along here. And I know it's kind of hard to see because this is a white fabric. Usually though, you can see it a little bit better. and then you can just fold it under. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that, and then, measure occasionally down the line. Just make sure you don't get the hem tape on your iron, because that's no fun to try to remove. And for your shoulder seams, just press them to the back. You can split it if you want. What I mean by splitting it is if it bugs you that it's kind of bulky, you can snip it, not all the way through, but just through the serger seam, and fold it one way and one way, or opposite ways, I should say, and fold it under. This is on a curve, so it will take a little bit of finagling at some points. You do want to make sure that it looks nice on the outside though. So if you have to stretch this part, then do that versus stretch the right side of the fabric. And I just cut them in like little strips so it's manageable for me. You don't have to do the whole thing too. You could just do little portions, kind of like basting it down or tacking it down. So this does take a little bit of time, like I was saying, but when you're actually sewing, it saves you a lot of time. So I think it all works out in the end. Even if you're using a twin needle, you still have to sew it from the right side, and this will just keep it nice and flat, and you can just focus on sewing straight versus making sure the fabric's underneath right, nothing's like poking out. You can just go ahead and sew. I wonder if it helps to use the tailor's hem thing. One day I was on Temu and I just bought like a bunch of these old school, to me seems old school, sewing kind of tools, and I've just been loving it. But I have to think about it. It's not natural for me to just like be like, oh yeah, I should use this. I have to think about it. I guess whenever you're sewing on a curve, one of these things, a tailor's hem, I think it's called, helps out. And the neckline is the most time consuming part. The sleeves and the bottom hem are super easy, so don't worry. It's only because it's on a curve, and it's also the most visible part, right, of the shirt. Okay, so you really get a preview of what it's going to look like. So that little pinch here, make sure you fix it. I guess I wasn't paying attention. I guess it's good that I make all these little mistakes so that you guys can see what happens. It is pretty iron on there good, not gonna lie. Maybe if I heat it up a little bit more, it'll loosen up. I don't know if that's how hem tape works. That's good enough for me. So this is what the neckline will look like. So yes, just make sure you're okay with it before cover stitching or twin needling it on. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that for the sleeves and the hem and come back and show you. So when I'm doing the hem, because my hem tape is only 1/4 of an inch, I do want to put it more towards the raw edge and just lay under, measure frequently. This is what, your garment's going to look like from the outside, and then press. This hem tape works really well, like not just knits, but also on curved hems, on wovens too, like pretty much anything, where you rather lay it out nicely at the table versus at the sewing machine. Okay, so this is my brother cover stitch. It's the Pace Setter cover stitch 2340 CV, and this is probably the most affordable cover stitch I could find, and it's pretty reliable. I bought this on eBay for a really good price, and it came slightly damaged, I think, through shipping, but they were really nice, and they gave me like maybe $80 back if I kept it, and it was just kind of cosmetic. Like these plates don't match up, but anyway, I'm gonna start with the the easiest hem, which is going to be the bottom. And I have it set for a narrow hem or double needle, yeah, cover stitch hem. I don't know what it's called. Versus the using the first and the third needle, which would be wide stitch. Anyways, so I'm just aligning I can feel the edge of the raw edge underneath. I'm just making sure it's by like this first needle first, because we're only using the second and the third needle. Does that make sense? And we're just going to sew around. So I'm kind of aligning it to right here in the middle of these two lines. Kind of weird, but it'll work. So when I look at it, like in the back, yep, it's catching the back with a little tiny bit of excess. I don't mind the excess if it means it's not curling. If your seam is like not underneath the needles, it's going to curl and kind of like bunch up. So it's better if you want a flat cover stitch to stitch on the whole fabric and have like just a little bit of excess on the edge. Having the hem tape also really makes it easy to sew. It's not stretching, it's pretty much stuck there. Okay, and I'm nearing the end, so I'm going to trim up some of my threads so there's less to clean up later. You can tie them off, so it's up to you. You don't have to cut it off. And because this presser foot is clear, you can kind of line it up. Okay, you want to overlap a couple stitches. So get it to the highest point. Then you're going to take something sharp like an owl or I don't know, anything you have. Press the two things at the top that's holding your needle threads. Put it out about 3 inches. Lift the presser foot. Slide this underneath so that those threads come to the front on the bottom side of the presser foot. And then you can cut those. Put the top ones to the side. Press the thing on the top for the looper foot or looper thread and then pull out. And that pulls all your threads to the bottom so that there's nothing showing at the top. And then you can just go ahead and cut it off, tie it off, whatever you want to do. And that's pretty much it. I'm just going to go ahead and do that for my sleeves and neckline. Just add a smaller seam allowance because that was 1 inch. This is going to be 1/2 inch. And you might be wondering, do I need a cover stitch? And this is a question that I've asked myself like for such a long time. And the answer is, do you have the budget for it? Do you have the space for it? I have 3 machines, so I need a lot of space. I have my serger and then my sewing machine down there. It takes a lot of space, not gonna lie. I forgot how much it was. I want to say about $500. And then you need more threads because you can't be switching from, you can't use your serger threads for the cover machine or else you're going to be doing a whole lot of threading. So, but thread is pretty cheap. Just go on Amazon, get a decent quality one. Don't go that cheap because you do want your stuff to last. And also, do you sew a lot of knits? I was using the twin needle for a long time and it worked. It looked good, you know, from the front. It looked exactly like this. And it was so cheap. It's like, I don't know, $2 or something for a twin needle, a stretched twin needle. But when you look on the bottom side, it was only a zigzag. And one time I was wearing a dress that I made. And it takes me a lot to like actually wear something that I made out because I feel self-conscious. And anyways, I pulled this, I think I crossed my legs and I pulled the hem and that thread like popped. And I mean, no one noticed. I was out like a long time. But yeah, so once that one thread pops, it pretty much unravels, and I didn't like it. It didn't make me feel confident when I wore the things that I made. This just looks like so much nicer, and I mean, you really can't tell, like, it looks like a professional hem. If you look at your ready to wear clothes, like I bought this shirt, underneath, this is what the cover stitch looks like. The only thing is that it's cut right at the edge, and that's how you know it's machine manufactured versus like mine's where there's a little bit of extra. Even on some things though, I do see the extra. So it's totally, up to you. For me, it made sense. I sew a lot of knits and I just love it. So I can't recommend it enough. There's a lot more fancy ones. If you have the budget for it, I would get like one of the ones where it has a longer arm, more like a sewing machine look, so that you can do fancy cover stitches like on leggings, like Lululemon leggings. You know how it has the like this kind of stitch on the outside? That's awesome. But I wasn't ready to make that investment. So, anyways, this is not about the cover stitch machine. I'm just gonna go ahead and finish this up. Sorry about my little rant. I mean, I know when I watch videos and I see people using it, I want to know, is it worth it and why did they buy it versus just using, a serger and a regular machine. Gonna finish this up and then we will try it on. Okay, so everything's done. I recommend steaming and pressing all your seams. It kind of just makes everything lay a little bit nicer. Okay, let's go try this on. Okay, so this is what the shirt looks like really quick. I gotta go pick up the kids, but so this is the pocket placement. I don't know, I think it could be a little bit more to the side. That's why I don't like pockets. It's just, if it's not exactly right, it just really bugs me. I think it would have been okay without the pocket, but anyways, yeah, I'm wearing a white skirt, so it's a little hard to see, but it comes right here. My waist is right here, so it's a little bit longer, long enough where you could probably tuck it in a little to your like high-waisted shorts or whatever you wanted to wear. But it looks really good, I think, and the material is super comfortable. I like the neckline and all the finishings. If I pull the shirt, the pocket actually kind of stretches with it, so no problems there. I can actually put stuff in it too. So please subscribe if you can. It really helps out my channel a lot. And I'll see you in my next video.